Assalamualaikum and good day to everyone. Today, Muhammad will present a German-based folk. I based on my story on the Grimm's fairy tale, and just for a warning, most of the picture used in this presentation are not related to the story and only used to show expression or to show scenery.
Once upon a time, a king came to a village and heard about an amazing girl from a miller. The miller told the king that her daughter was the most amazing woman in all the land. The king was hesitant at first, but the miller told him that her daughter could spin straw into gold. The king was delighted when he heard about it and forced her to palace to test her. He regretted lying to his king, but now he can't stop her daughter from being taken. The king prepared a room full of straw for the girl and subjected her to turn it all into gold. He also warned her to finish her task before the sun rises or she'll be killed. She was shaking all over. She knows not how to spin straw into gold. Out of the blue, an imp appeared and offered her a deal. He'll make the golden thread for her, she'll give the imp a prized possession. She agreed to the imp's deal and gave him her prized necklace. The imp was happy and started spinning the straw till the morning. The next morning the king opened the door to the girl's room and was overjoyed with the golden threads in the room. Not satisfied with all the golden threads in the room, the king ordered her to spin more straw into golds. The girl once again frightened and hoped for the imp to come. The sky turned dark, the imp came just as she wanted and offered the same offer as before. She gave the imp her treasured ring and the imp started working again. Even with all the thread that she prepared for the king was still unsatisfied. He wants more. So, he arranged her with ridiculous amount of straw. The girl started to shed tears as she wanted to be free from the king's grasp, but the king laughed and said his plan to marry her with his firstborn. She was devastated when she heard about the king's plan. The night came and just as before the imp appeared and offered the same deal, but this time, she doesn't have anything to give the imp. The imp offered her a new deal, her firstborn for the golds. The imp, without the girl agreement, started working without stopping even though the woman begged him to stop. By the next morning, the golds were finished and the deal between them was done. A moment later, the king's prince stepped into the room and was shocked with what his father had done. The prince sat next to the girl and started consoling her. They began falling in love with each other after talking for a long time. They got married not long after the cruel king died. They became crowned and the woman then pregnant her first child. After 9 months, the woman gave birth to her firstborn and the imp immediately came and demanded her firstborn. They quarreled for a long time until they agreed for another deal. If she figured out who the imp is, she can keep her firstborn. She tried many names in the first 2 days, but all of them were inaccurate. A couple of hours before the third day, she went out to get some air to ease her worries. She roamed around until she suddenly heard a familiar voice in the forest. She went near and saw the imp dancing merrily in front of the fireplace. She took a step away from that place until suddenly the imp started singing. She decided to wait for time being and overheard the answer she's waiting for. On the third day, the imp appeared for one last time. The woman guessed many names but it's still incorrect. The imp gave her a last chance before he took her baby. The queen whispered a name to the imp's ear and suddenly veins began popping on the imp's head. He was so furious that he started stomping the ground repeatedly, making the palace shakes. The floor broke and opened a big hole underground. The imp fell into it. Since that day, the imp was never seen again. So, who was the imp? What was his name? It is
It was Rumpelstiltskin, a German folklore based on Grimm's fairy tales. So the moral value of this story is selflessness. We should not concern excessively with oneself without regard for others. Um, we should value each other the same way we value ourselves. And honesty. We should not lie to others just to get their attention because honesty is the best policy. In this situation, the miller uh, is not an honest person because he lied to the king about her daughter can spin straw into a golden thread that is. And characters and characteristic of the in the story is the first one is Rumpelstiltskin. He was an unpredictable and a grumpy guy. We do not know why he won the daughter of the miller's prized possessions or her firstborn. And he was grumpy because when he did not get what he wanted, he was so furious that he stomped the ground and he fell into it, to the hole that he made himself. The second one is the daughter of the miller. She was a sensitive person, as seen in the slideshow earlier. She cried when the king uh, said that he can't let her go because he want more gold. And also, she was a very brave person. By the last scene of the story, uh, we know that she became a queen, and when she made a deal with the imp, in the third day, before the third day, she went to the forest alone and overheard the imp sing, and she get closer to the imp just to her just before the imp said his name. That show her bravery towards the danger. The third one is the king. He was a greedy person and he was also an intelligent person. He is greedy because uh, he want more gold for himself, and and he is also an intelligent person because he killed his uh, benefactor, which is the daughter of the miller, uh, into a secure room just so she can make more gold for him. And the last one is the miller. The miller is a short-sighted and hasty person. He do not hesitate at all when meeting with the king, and he did not think about what will happen to her daughter if he tell the king that she can spin straw into gold. So based on my research of the story, Rumpelstiltskin, or in German Rumpelstiltskin, is a little rattle stew, or a goblin that was rumored to make noise by rattling posts or stilts, like some sort of poltergeist. And the next question is, when was the Rumpelstiltskin released? Uh, there are no known date for initial release, but most popular version of it was The Grimm's Fairy Tale in 1812. And where does the story originate? The Rumpelstiltskin originated in Europe in 16th century, attributed to French poet Rabelais and German scholar Fischer. Whether you know him as a goblin, a dwarf, a ghost, or a crippled, Rumpelstiltskin is derived from the early modern game called Rumpelstiltskin or De Popa. So why do I like this story? For me personally, Rumpelstiltskin was a unique story with an incredible plot. It has powerful lessons that people should be reminded of daily. And personally, Rumpelstiltskin was a classic masterpiece. My favorite quote in this story is "Tonight, tonight, my plans I make. Tomorrow, tomorrow, the baby I take. The queen will never win the game, for the Rumpelstiltskin is my name." This is the song that he sing in the forest when the queen overheard this. It shows that even though as unpredictable Rumpelstiltskin is, he still have a weakness. That is, he was a clumsy person. Uh, that he sing his own name, the forest, without thinking that anybody could hear his name. So that's all for me. Thank you for listening to my presentation. And this is the references I use for this presentation. That's all for me. Thank you.